questions. Obviously, a heartbreaking loss. At this point, we didn't find a way to finish it up at the end. Chipped up, banged up, but no excuses, no explanations. Got to find a way to come away with a win. Guys are heartbroken in the locker room, and they should be. So we all got to find a way to improve and find a way to get back on the horse 1 week at a time. We got to learn from this, just like we did previous losses, and find ways to get better. It starts with me, but our guys in the locker room understand and are going to continue to buy into our plan that we have in place to find ways to improve from it.
All right, the second week in a row where you had a big lead and lost it. Where do you go from here and figuring out how to fix that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us right now is playing a complete game for all 4 quarters. And, that's one of the things we're not doing. We're seeing flashes of some really good stuff. And the ups and downs, it's just finding consistency in it, right? You can sit there and say the defense played a really good first half and did a lot of things. But at the end, just didn't find a way to close in on the run and finish the way we needed to. And then offensively, had to rely on some explosives and rather than be able to rely on the run game. Of course, obviously they were blitzing pretty high percentage. We just got to find ways to take advantage of that and be a consistent team in all 3 phases for 4 quarters. That's the reality of it.
And then on that final, the late drive at ECU on the 3rd and 2 on the catch. Did you try to flag down any of the refs to see if they can review that catch or not?
No. I mean, I asked multiple times for things to be reviewed. I can't sit here and go into things on officials. They were saying there's a lot of close calls that could have been called, but that's the nature of college football. What it could have, should have, doesn't matter. We've just got to find a way to execute at a higher level.
And then when you look at what you guys were able to do offensively, it looked like you guys were making an effort to put Caden Prescorn in positions before the red zone. How did you think that kind of played out for you guys?
Caden continues to be a fantastic player for us as an offensive weapon. He's sure-handed, can block, can catch, can run crisp routes, and he obviously showed that high level outside the red zone tonight. But we're going to need more guys to continue to step up.
And I know Seth had some interceptions, but what did you think about him on that final drive of regulation to put you guys in position?
Look, Seth's a gritty competitor, and did a lot of great things tonight. One of those picks obviously went through the hands, and it was a pick 6. Those will always be daggers in the heart in these games in this day and age. But Seth's a battler. He's a competitor. He gets it. He understands what he needs to do to continue to improve his game. Obviously, he did some really good things at the end of the game. We just got to continue to do things in overtime to find a way to close it out.
And then, what went into the decision to start the game with Asa Martin?
We're banged up. As you noticed, Brandon Thomas, I don't think, played a single snap. We were missing some guys that hadn't, but we got great faith in Asa. Asa's done some really nice things for us, and the senior running back continues to show that he's capable of being our starter.
So Brandon's out with an injury.
Brandon was not able to play this game due to an injury.
And then, looking at the overtime, you gonna walk us through what that last play call and what was trying.
Yeah, last play was a 2-point play. Obviously, once you get past into the 3rd overtime, it turns into a 2-point play shootout. But those are some of those plays that we like that we've worked. We do a lot of 2-point plays every day in practice. And, quarterback felt comfortable. We've had a lot of success with them. And even the other one that I know I just got asked about, why would you hand the ball off to Asa? It's a RPO that we had run plenty of RPOs all night. And most of our passes were actually RPOs. And they played zone coverage on that one. Then in the 3rd overtime with the true 2-point play, it was a bunch concept, motion to empty, and it was something we've had a lot of success of. Obviously, we weren't able to connect on it.
I know I've asked you this before, but you guys were a strong second half team before these last 2 weeks. What's going on with the flip in these second halves?
Yeah, like I said, I think continue to be consistent in all 3 phases. The inconsistency is what's hurting us and why we're not able to finish games up the right way these last 2 weeks, right? And obviously but we were able to do some things in the 4th quarter to come back. So it's just the nature of it. We got to become a complete football team, and and that's. We talk about games early in the season that seemed like so far ago, where we were strong 4th quarter teams. And then obviously, last week we weren't, and this week, obviously we didn't do enough in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter we showed some comeback and some fight. But it's just putting it all together so we can go out there and play a complete game.
And then when you're going into an overtime game against an ECU defense that's top in the country in red zone, defense in overtime is a red zone situation, how much harder does that make it in those moments as opposed to going against a different team?
Well, look, credit to them. They're a good team. We knew it'd be a great atmosphere tonight. There's a reason why. I mean, you go back and we played them in overtime last year, and that's kind of what this it's turned into a heck of a series. But they did a nice job of stopping us. Obviously, for back-to-back weeks, we're one play short of what we need to do.
And my last question for you is just what's the message in that locker room to these guys?
Yeah, look, what happens when you lose two heartbreakers, and again, I try not to talk too much about the previous week, but that's the nature of where this team's at, right? Two back-to-back heartbreakers. Where you're on the edge. And close doesn't matter. We just got to find ways. Good football team find ways to win, and we haven't been able to do that. And so to our guys, I said, here's the deal. 90% of teams say, okay, we're going to grow closer to this and become tighter and find a way to get better, right? To fix the little things, to find ways to improve, not just on Saturdays, not just on a Tuesday practice, but every day of the week. And I looked to them, man, I had all their eyes. And I said, okay, who can we hold accountable to get better and to accept and say, okay, how can I continue to improve as an individual and to make this team better, whatever it takes. And every man to a T, from the support staff to the coaches to guys that didn't even play tonight, raised their hands, said, absolutely. And that's the one thing about that locker room. It's a locker room that's in some pain, and rightfully so. Obviously frustrated, but they believe and they understand, they trust, they love, and they care. And that's going to be critical for us moving forward. Not pointing the finger and saying, okay, how do I get better as an individual? And, Frank, that's the one thing I've told you guys, in all these games, wins or losses, this is a football team that believes. Obviously, we've fallen short of the stick just slightly in these last two games, and it's heartbreaking. But if there's one thing I know about the group of men in that locker room is that they're going to fly home. We're going to learn from this. We're going to find ways to continue to get better, and they're going to come out swinging. And that's what they do. I think a lot of people said, how are they even going to show up flat because of what happened last week? Are they able to get over last week's game? I think the plan was in place when we came out with some fire in our belly. We just got to be able to sustain it. And I know anything about those guys is they're going to be pissed off to get better. And they're going to work their tails off and find a way, whatever it takes, because we got a challenging week ahead. Obviously, we know Tulane's a great team. They're playing at a very high level. We've struggled down there in recent years, but our guys will be excited about that opportunity. And we're going to learn from this and get better as a football program.
Do you have any update on Quindell at all?
I don't.
Thank you. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.